Hi, my name is Nomalanga Mhlauli-Moses with SuccessfulBlackWoman.com. This is my good friend Shaquita with LovingTheBlackMan.com. How are you doing today, Shaquita?
I'm doing great, Noma.
Okay, so our story today is about a woman in, I believe it was Minneapolis. Here's the story. Here's how the story goes. Bianca Dawkins has now gone completely viral via social media after sharing her unfortunate and unsatisfactory experience at a white hair salon, emphasis white hair salon, in Minneapolis on June 10th. Dawkins spoke of her experience to her Facebook friends after her appointment had taken place. She wrote that she went to try and get her naturally curly hair straightened by a white stylist who allegedly flipped out. I want to get to the part where he said, she claims that he said he didn't have the time to do my hair. Hold on.
And it was like tackling.
Yeah. Wait, I want to get the quote. He didn't have the time to do my hair. That my hair was like an animal he couldn't tackle. So now, of course, this young woman is outraged that this white salon and the white guy there didn't want to tackle her natural hair. She says, well, it isn't the 1950s or 60s where we can just put up a sign in the window.
That's what the guy said.
Right, because he wouldn't do her hair. Oh, I'm sorry, she asked him, so what? Black girls can't come in here and get their hair done? And then he responded by saying, well, it isn't the 1950s or 60s where we can just put up a sign in the window. In other words, he's saying that if he had it his way, they would not do Black people's hair and they would state it outright rather than have to tell them when they come in. Your thoughts?
I love it. I love it. I absolutely love it because first of all, I was like puzzled, like, why would you want people who could be white supremacists touching you or your hair? And the other thing I was thinking is, why are you so concerned with white businesses doing business with you? Keep your money to yourself, and who cares what they think about you or your hair? Right.
What I think is actually almost word for word the same as what you think. Only you're being very diplomatic, right? I just really want to know, what was she doing in there? What the H was she doing in there? Who told her to go in there? She stated it was a white hair salon. She stated it was a white guy who was supposed to do her hair. In all honesty, Shaquita, if the situation were reversed, okay, I generally can't do hair in general, but with my daughter, I could figure it out. If a white person put their head in front of me, I wouldn't know what to do with it, okay? But I'm not a hairstylist. So I generally wouldn't go to a white person to try and get them to figure out my hair, because I almost always assume that even if they've kind of learned how to do it, it's a peripheral thing. I've never met a white person who went all out to go and learn how to do Black hair and is a master at Black hair. They maybe do it just peripherally. So I don't understand what she was doing in there, and I think she should not have been in there.
But it even goes deeper than that, Noma. With the racial history that we have, with the vicious and venomous way that many white people have attacked Black people in the society, why would you think that you would get proper service, any kind of positivity from people who are suspected to be white supremacists? I mean, why would that be your first thought? That, you could go into any white business, a restaurant, a school, a hospital, any of that, and that you are going to be well received, considering that, the majority... history and the way that white people generally, white supremacists, not all white people, white supremacists respond to you is like really heinous and hateful. So that makes me think of the young lady who started her own emergency room, a black woman in Houston. Her and her husband started their own emergency room. There was a African woman who started her own airline after she was mistreated at another airline. I mean, these are the things we need to be focused on. How can we disassociate from people who have a history of being hateful, venomous, and harmful to us? Not how can we figure out if they can do our hair.
Right. You know, I'll be honest and say I've made a similar mistake. I remember when, my kids were born, we lived in a neighborhood where it was a pretty diverse neighborhood. We live in that neighborhood now. And when we were getting ready to move, what we were very concerned about was that my daughter was about to start school. So we went through and looked at the school districts and picked where we were going to live by taking the school district very highly into consideration.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't until we got there that I realized it was an all-white neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful home, beautiful whatever. But I mean, the experience was just unbelievable. And that smacked me in the face. I mean, I literally, if I saw a Black person in the supermarket, we would both be tripping, looking at each other like, oh, you're here too, you know? I think I've shared this experience over and over, which was kind of how the path that led to me homeschooling both of my kids. My kids both had horrible experiences. My son was in a preschool in that area. My daughter was in an excellent, if you're looking at the academic performance of that school, excellent school. However, I had to start thinking about her emotional well-being and everything else, spiritual, emotional, everything, and physical. And obviously, the end of the story is that I yanked both of my kids out of there. And then we eventually moved out of that neighborhood and have since lived in more diverse or mixed kinds of neighborhoods. So I think I've made the same mistake in that I wanted the best for my kids. So my reasoning when I looked at her was I wanted to kind of give her the benefit of the doubt, but I don't get it. She knew ahead of time that was a white salon. And she knew that guy was white when she saw him. So I don't understand her reasoning at all.
Well, I mean, I'm glad you brought up the error that you made in your thinking, because I think a lot of people can make this mistake, and I made the mistake to think that just because white people or people who are suspected as being white supremacists might have more access to resources, that it's a better decision to be in that neighborhood or that school or that salon because it's going to be,
the best. It's going to be the best.
It's going to be the best. But I think we overestimate the material aspect of things because there's nothing like being with your own people. And that's how we get really duped in the system of racism in general. I mean, that whole integration movement, we can do great things amongst each other. Yeah, it may start off small. It may not be, the Hollywood strip or whatever. But I mean, even when you say Hollywood, I've seen Black, look at Tyler Perry. He's taken a dime and he's made all kinds of movies, whether you like all his movies or not. Some of them I do like Why Did I Get Married or Daddy's Little Girl. Some of those things I do like. But at the same time, he was able to make, hits with smaller budgets. So we can't underestimate what we can do as a people. And we can't be thinking that the grass is greener on the other side all of the time. We'll never get anywhere as far as nation building for ourselves.
Absolutely. And I think that's a great example that you brought up of Tyler Perry, because he did start small. I know his story, but at least the parts that he has shared, where he said he was sleeping in his car and, he would put on a show, spend everything that he had, spend so much time really, really trying to get it off the ground, put on a show, and there'd be 3 people showing up. So he wasn't even getting his money back. And I think a lot of times people stop at that point and just look at the fact that, oh, I can't, and then go back, or they're lulled back into this, well, at least if I get a job over there, I go over there, I can at least get something rather than nothing. But everything great started from nothing. you know, and that's all I can say. I personally, it's never occurred to me that I would go to a white salon and ask a white person to do my hair, but maybe to make it plain and clear that don't do that, okay? The same thing goes with anything. I don't walk around with the assumption that every white person that I come across is going to do something to me or thinks negatively of me. But certainly, if I see any indication of it, even the slightest indication of it, I'm taking my dollar and taking it somewhere else, okay? And that's how I feel about everything. When I saw I didn't even see slight indications. By the time I took my kids out of school, I was seeing big indications, and I wanted to choke people, as did my husband. But we didn't choke anybody. We just simply took our kids somewhere else. And the same thing with my former job. I saw indications of things that I didn't like. People were horrified, and there's like, wait a minute, you're on tenure track. You could have this job forever. No, I don't want to be abused forever. Because that's really it is. It's a well sought after job. People look for jobs where you can become a college professor, you get tenure, and then you have a job for life. You never have to worry about being fired. And then we even had a union. But I chose something else. I said, no, you're not going to abuse me for the rest of my life. That's not going to happen. And I chose something else, and I don't regret it.
Exactly. And I mean, you know, just to wrap it all up, I hope this happens to more Black people, because there's too many Black people that think that integration is real, that some type of equality and civil rights is real. We live in a country that is built on white supremacy. That is the policy of the day in every area of people activity. And I swear, it seems like over 80, maybe even 90% of Black people don't get that. And you have to go and try to get your hair done at a white salon to figure that out. Wow.
Yeah. I hope lesson learned for her, for the young lady. That's all we can say. So, you know, we can wrap this up right now. You done?
Yeah,
okay.
Absolutely.
I just want to remind our friends at Your Black World that Shaquita Graham and I are the founders of the upcoming Married Women's Business. It's an exciting platform that we've been working on tirelessly. Although I would say Shaquita more than me has been working tirelessly to get it up and running. You can still go there and start adding your email so that when it's when we have our debut date, we'll let you know, and then we'll start sharing more of these conversations, and maybe we'll make them longer. We'll have more engagement. We have a lot coming in the pipelines. This, of course, is Shaquita Graham of lovingtheblackman.com. You can also take some of her courses at teachable. Say it again, Shaquita.
Atechco.teachable.com.
Atechco.teachable.com. And as for me, you can find me at successfulblackwoman.com. Thank you guys for watching, and thank you, Shaquita, for joining me in this interesting conversation.
Thanks for viewing.
Take care, guys.